Hi Daddy, what made you want to become a jockey?
When I was still in school, I used to record all the televised racing, and when I go home from school I used to watch it every week, and I just got a bug and I just loved horse racing, and that's what made me want to be a jockey.
But once Neil, you almost forgive your dream, because at the beginning I noticed that the start is not too good and you almost became a carpenter.
It was very difficult in Ireland in those times because there was only probably 3 or 4 trainers dominated the whole scene. I started out as an apprentice with a trainer on the Curragh in Ireland, and I spent like just over 2 years with him, and it just yielded a handful of rides, and like I had kind of 3 or 4 apprentices in front of me in line, so I just got a little bit despondent and a little bit disheartened about it because I just wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted, and I was about to give it up.
In 1998, it's a turning point of your life because you moved to England and your career started to take off well, right?
Yeah, I was a very good friend of mine actually, my next door neighbour. He was in racing as well, but he was a bit taller, a bit heavier. He was an amateur jockey, and he'd moved to England just as a walk rider to work for Carl Buck, and he gave me a call out of the blue and just said like, oh, he was working for a trainer named Carl Buck, and I didn't really know much about him, but you know, obviously I'd watched him on TV, and he just said he was looking for an apprentice, and I was a little bit apprehensive about wanting to take the opportunity because I've had my go, and I was going to be retrained through a friend of mine to be a carpenter to end up fitting kitchens, and that was, you know, I wanted to have a trade if I couldn't make it what I wanted to be, and I decided to just give it a go for 6 months, but luckily within 2 months the trainer asked me to get my license out and be a stable apprentice, and he was very good to me. He supported me, and kind of he kicked my career off, and then when I rode my claim out, Carl Buck had moved stable, he'd moved up north, and I didn't want to move up north. I thought the best place to go was go to Newmarket and hopefully click with a big trainer in Newmarket, and for a couple of seasons I rode in Newmarket and my numbers dropped. I kind of turned into a bit of a journeyman jockey. I was going all over the country and just riding 40, 50 winners a season, and it was just by chance then that Kevin Ryan had gotten hold of my agent and, you know, kind of set the wheels in motion without me knowing. And then we ended up having a meeting at Suttle Racecourse, and he laid out his plans and he asked me what my plans were, and the following season I was stable jockey to him, and for the next 4 or 5 years, like, we were a pretty good combination.
In Hong Kong we called you Mr. Ironman, but in the UK you're a Mr. Consistency. There's a record you reached a century in 7 consecutive seasons.
Well, it was a record for me, but I think the one previous to that was Pat Edry. I think he'd ridden 27 consecutive century winners, and I was going to find it hard to match that, but
you have a very successful career in the UK, so what brings you to Hong Kong?
When you're riding in England and you're doing so well, and you always like acknowledge the racing around the world, because at that stage then I was starting to ride really good horses, like Group 1 horses that were maybe going to go to these sort of races like the Hong Kong International Meeting, the Breeders' Cup, the Melbourne Cup. So I was having to do some homework on all the international tracks with horses that may be going to go to those meetings. So I'd done a lot of homework and looked into Hong Kong racing, and I thought, wow, this looks very impressive and something that eventually I would really like to do. And it was just by chance then that Ryan Moore was meant to come for the International Jockeys Challenge, and he had to pull out at the last minute, and I got a call from the stewards here and asked me would I like to be invited, and well, when I got that invite, like I grabbed it with both hands.
Starting from 2010, you start to have a short riding stint in Hong Kong until 2014, you get a full license, right?
Yeah, well, the first few years I came here, I was a bit apprehensive about coming here because like the generation before me was the likes of Mick Kinane and Pat Edry, and all those good jockeys used to come here and Callan and Frankie, and they were very successful here. And then there was like a 10-year period where champion jockeys like Jamie Spencer and Steve Drown and Seb Sanders, and they'd all come here, and they hadn't lasted their 3-month stint. They'd like left, and I thought there's a reason why they're not doing so well. So I was a little bit scared, not scared, but I was a little bit like hesitant about coming here, because I was thinking, well, I like to give everything 110%, and I don't like to give something a go and then stop and give up very quickly. Like, I mean, I persevere to make sure I do well, or do as well as I can. And so anyway, I kind of like took the first stint to come for the International Jockeys Challenge. I loved what I saw when I came here. I thought this could be something. But back in the UK, I was still top 5, so it was a lot that I'd worked hard for, but also a lot to give up to come here. So I think I eventually succumbed to coming here for a 3-month stint, and it was tough. It was very tough. Like, I mean, I think I rode 2 or 3 winners.
In England, we can just like ask for an agent to help us to book a ride. In Hong Kong, you have to do your own thing. It's totally different, right?
It's very different, and it's also, the racing is very different. You know, the racing style, you know, you have to be sewing the ball out of the gates, and, you know, position, and obviously then you have to do all your own PR work with the trainers and the owners, and so yeah, it was very different for me to come and do that. But I suppose in the end it made me a stronger person, and it made me more willing and more determined to do even better here.
Hi Daddy, what was your most memorable victory?
My most memorable victory would be Blazing Speed in the QE2. He went in as the underdog. I believed he could win. Most people thought it was either going to be a Japanese horse or was designed on Rome. But I really believed that he could win the race. And when he did win, he won very impressively. But I think what made it very memorable was that when I pulled up, Trish and the kids were by the rail, and it was very nice to come back round, and I pulled him up by the rail, and Trish and the kids were all stood by the rail, and it was a pretty special moment.
You have 3 kids, so is it one of the reasons that the Hong Kong education is quite good, and you guys prefer to stay in Hong Kong for them?
I think that Hong Kong, where they go to school, we're very lucky. They got into a really good school, which was quite difficult to find a space here. But I think that, yeah, the education is great. I mean, back in the UK it's great too, but now that we've got them in this school, then I'm happy to stay sort of as long as we need to, really. In
Hong Kong, there's a very strange trend, because we call them helicopter parents. They just force their kids too much, but I think you guys set a really good model, because you are not forcing them, you are encouraging them, even though you are just like doing the same sports with them. Yeah, no, they do. I mean, they do a lot of sport after school, but actually where they're at school, they can do quite a lot within the day. And then I refuse to have them tutored after school. They're there, we leave at 7 in the morning. Some nights we're not home till 6:30, 7. If they can't do it then, I'm sorry, they're not going to stay up till 8, 9 o'clock doing more schoolwork. This one is not a massive fan of homework, so he takes the most pushing, but they get it done and sort of spread it over the week, so try and make it a balance, really. I know that you're at the star of your school, because you're always won the championships in different, just like running, swimming, and everything. So which sport you love the most?
Oh, well, I love horse riding the most, but I also love all the other sports I do at school. But for school, my favourite sport would be running, because I just love to run.
He's very good at it.
Yeah, I saw it on the Instagram, and your parents come to support you, and they take part in a spring race, and they have the Callan Quinilla.
Yeah, sports day, they're very good. I was very proud of them.
Yeah, that was a bit of a stitch up. Mummy should not have been against Daddy. That wouldn't have been. That wasn't fair at all.
You should have some handicap.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
We know that the school is very expensive. Do you feel a little bit stressful because there's quite a certain amount of expenses that you have to provide it to them.
Yeah, but look, the way I look at it is that when I grew up, you know, I grew up in a housing estate. I went to a public school. You know, I didn't have all the luxuries, and like I used to go around. When I was a kid, I used to go around my neighbours and I used to cut their grass. I used to clean their gutters out. I used to wash their windows, just to get like pocket money. Yeah. You know, so I was very domesticated in that respect. You know, I'd go out to make my own money, even though I was a kid still at school. So I understand that coming here, if I can be in a position to give my family and my kids a better start in life and go to a really nice school, it's expensive, but it's the only thing I have to pay for. So
what do you think of your parents?
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Don't really know what to say, but I love my mommy and my dad, and I really appreciate how much they do for me, but sometimes I don't really show that.
So let me ask Teddy Bear. So who scares the most, your mommy or daddy?
None.
None.
you're not scared of anybody.
No, it's not. That's
Good boy.
Because you're the. But now what's your future plan? Because they're all now is growing up in Hong Kong, and I'm sure that if every year you get the full license from the Jockey Club, and then you will continue to ride in Hong Kong and let them to grow up in Hong Kong, right?
The most important thing when I came here was that my family would have to be here with me.
Settle down.
Like I could not be here on my own and then be back in England. So the most important thing is that they're here and they're happy, and they are. You just see them now; they're happy, and you know we're settling, and as long as they're happy and as they're getting a really good education and they're going, you know, they do lots of other things, and the climate here is very good. So in the summer they can go out on the boat, go wakeboarding, go to the beach. And so they're doing a lot of new things that they would never do if they were in the UK. So, and they're learning from the different cultures, which I think is educational in itself. So, as long as I keep performing out there on the track and I keep getting support here and keep doing well, then we'll stay.
If one day that they tell you that I would like to follow in your footsteps to become a jockey, are you going to support them?
Well, I think the most likely one, well, at the moment Jack's the first in line, so we'll decide when he gets of age that if that's the path he wants to take. But they're all very sporty, they're all very bright, and whatever they do in life as they grow older, we'll support them. We never push them, we never tell them they can't do this, they can't do that. Because when I was younger and I wanted to be a jockey, like my dad was kind of half trying to push me away from it, because he'd been there as an apprentice as a kid and he didn't do so well, and he didn't want me to go down that path, whereas I wanted to find out for myself, and he tried to steer me away from it, and I became more determined to go down that path. So, you know, whatever my kids do, as long as they're not layabouts and wasters, they'll be 100% supported by Trish and I.